I knew that I had to sit down and just record an open dialogue conversation as I'm reflecting about it with myself of what has happened to me since I've come to Bali. And truthfully speaking, I have found God here, which honestly makes me laugh a little bit out loud in the sense that it's just so clear. It is so abundantly clear. And I want to just walk through some of the things that have happened for me since I've gotten here. So I came to Bali with not a lot of expectations. It was more so just I felt this really called feeling, right? I think that's what everyone fucking says when they come to Bali. Like, I just felt called to go. I had to go. But I truly was like, I have to go. I had fears that I had to overcome coming here, getting sick, all this stuff, right? Just there's so much fucking fear mongering about Bali for some reason, or maybe that's just the side of the internet that I've been on. But there was a lot of fear associated with it. It was my first time solo traveling so far away, like actually the farthest I could fucking possibly go. And I was just like, I just need to do this shit. And a part of me was like, going into it, I'm like, it's my birthday month. I was flying. It's my dead mother's birthday. She died of cancer when I was 15. And a part of me feels like I've never fully been able to put that to rest. Like, I've never, one, celebrated my mom's birthday since she died, which feels, a part of me felt so genuinely bad about that. And I also feel like I've never fully come to terms with that my mom has died, which hard to explain because it happened 13 years ago, and you would think at this point it's clicked up here. But for anyone who's lost a parent, one, it feels like you lose them over and over again every single year with every experience that you don't have with them, and every milestone you hit, you're like, damn, like that person, she's really not here. Like, I really cannot tell my mom what happened. She's never gonna see this happen, right? And so I just felt like I just keep losing her, but also I felt like I couldn't fully process that she was ever gone. I was like, oh, she's just on a trip, she's on vacation, I'll see her again, she'll call me. And it sounds minorly delusional when you say it out loud because it's been 13 years of that, but truly that's how I've lived. And a part of me came here thinking, I'm gonna celebrate my mom's birthday here. I'm gonna do a traditional ceremony for her. I'm gonna do something and just really show her that I've been thinking of her. Like, I want her to know that I love her and I've been thinking of her and that she's always with me. I need her to know that she's always with me. And that was a big part. Like, I just need her to know that she is always with me. So my mom's birthday is on the 25th. And if you know anything about living in Bali, every day almost feels the same. You start to lose track of time. Life just feels very different here. And my mom's birthday had passed. It was literally the day after or 2 days after, and I was like, oh my gosh, devastated all over again. I'm like, how did I fucking forget? How could I have forgot my mom's birthday? I literally feel like a part of me came here to celebrate her on her birthday in a way that I never have before. So I was so genuinely upset, and it took me a second to sit with it and not, you know, bust out into tears thinking, oh my god, she's never gonna know. She's never gonna know how much I love her. Like, I grew up, you know, she died when I was 15, and right before my quinceañera that she was planning, and I was a brat. Like, I was a fucking brat my entire childhood, as children are, right? And so I kind of had to live with that. Like, she only got to see the rattiest version of me, and she really had to put up with my shit. And will she ever know that I loved her? And it's a question that I've asked myself because she would ask me that. She would ask me, do you love me? Like, all these, it's hard to explain. Like, I just never knew if she knew that I feel her here, I want her here, like, I love her, and I'm always thinking of her. I was like, I'm gonna do this on her birthday. So the day had passed, and I was very, very genuinely upset. And then a moment clicked for me, and I was like, wow, wait a second. I actually did breath work on her birthday, which I haven't done breath work in a minute. I've done it a handful of times, and my friend Riley, who I'm living with, is a breath work facilitator. Shout out, she's incredible. She's so incredible at what she does. And she randomly did a breath work for a random group of strangers. So mind you, I'm doing this with a random group of strangers. I just met them maybe like 20 minutes ago. I'm doing it in the biggest mansion I have ever been in my life. The villa was insane, and we're just all in a living room, like on the ground, ready to do some breath work. And if you know anything about breath work, it can be very intense. I've never had an intense session. I have started to feel like a little clammy before. I've started to feel a little like but I haven't fully been able to surrender and release. And this session I did, and it wasn't on purpose. I didn't go in here thinking this is going to be the one. I just went through the motion because I know that ceremonies like this, things like this, healing sessions like this, they will hit when they're supposed to, when you're fully ready, right? So I drop into the breath work, and it's the most insane breath work I've ever done. It, like, I could not feel, like I could not move. Like, my hands were stuck. They call it like dinosaur hands or something. My body was stuck. I could not move. I felt like I was paralyzed, which again, normal experience. And if you've ever done breath work and had that experience, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But it's very normal. I knew that that's a possibility. I've always known that. So I'm not freaking out like, oh my God, I'm never gonna move again. But a part of me is like, oh my God, I might never move again, because I was so incredibly stuck. So I'm laying there and I'm so stuck, and I'm just like, I have never felt literally all of the energy that we are energy, right? We are made of energy, right? And so I have never felt my body vibrate at such a high level of frequency and energy. Like, I was like, wow, I'm literally an energetic being. Like, I can feel it, not just in the way of like I'm a human being and I'm alive, but like I can actually feel the energy that I'm made up of. And there was, you know, a few things that happened during that breath work, and just like things that I was feeling, like it was like chest and stomach, and I was like, why am I experiencing this? Like, am I feeling it in the body parts that I'm feeling it? And like, why am I just so stuck, can't move, so stuck? I'm breaking out into sweat. I'm in a pool of sweat at this point. Like, that's attractive, so hot. In a pool of sweat. Afterwards, I'm like, holy fuck, that was a crazy experience. Flash forward to 2 days later, I realized that I had done that breath work on my mom's birthday, and I truly feel like, looking back on it, I was like, I truly feel like she was with me in that way, like almost just trying to connect with me in that way. So keep that story, because there's a lot of other things going on here. But as I've been here, I went to an event where this woman was speaking, and she was speaking about energies and all these things. It was like a very close private group, and she is I believe how you would say it is a Kundalini activator. I'm not sure if you know what Kundalini is. It's another practice, a healing practice. I've never done Kundalini. She wasn't really talking too much about it there. She was more so just talking about like energy and attracting energies and all these things. And it was for specifically entrepreneurs. And she was talking about how on her 28th birthday, when she turned 28, which mind you, I turned 28 September 16th, so a few days before my mom's birthday, she said when she was 28, everything changed for her, right? And so a lot of you guys may or may not know, when you turn 27 or 28, your like moon comes home, right? And so this is supposed to be a time in your life where things start to make sense. Things that have never made sense just fucking make sense. And then you have an existential crisis, and then you start to burn shit in your life down. You're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? What's this? What's going on, right? And that is truly the space that I was in right before my 28th birthday. And I was thinking, like, I just know that I'm supposed to be leaning into more than one area. I've been a fitness coach for a long time, and I love my job, I love my business, but I have other passions and I want to pursue them all, and I've felt very called to do that recently. And then also I've just felt called to so many things. I've felt called to have a closer relationship with my father. I felt called to, you know, heal my wounds with my mom passing, right? I've just felt so many things. I'm like, I need to get to the bottom of this now. Like, I've just been feeling that. So when she said when she was 28 everything changed for her, I was like, dude, literally I feel that. And so then I think I mentioned this was like right before my birthday, and so she was talking about it, and then she said at the end, she was like, you know, I don't do like in-person Kundalini sessions or whatever, but if you guys want to do like, if you guys want to like learn more about my services or sign up or what have you can look at my Instagram. I can't remember exactly what she says. Meanwhile, the next day or that night, I think it was the next day, she had followed a few of us on Instagram, and she had messaged me specifically on Instagram and was like, listen, you know, I got some inquiries yesterday about at the event, and I'm feeling called to do an in-person Kundalini session. Like, would you be interested in that? And again, it's another spiritual practice similar to breath work, but not the same at all, but kind of trying to, you know, heal traumas and work out blockages and all these things. And she's like, I'm doing it on Monday, September 16th. Guys, that's literally my birthday. I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna be there. I have to be there. It's on my birthday. It feels so intentional that I'm supposed to be here. Everything that she was sharing, like I really resonated with, really connected with. So I was like, I'm gonna go and do that. So on my 28th birthday, I went to this random woman's house who had a beautiful villa, and she hosted it was just 5 of us girls, and she felt so called to us 5 girls, and she was like, it was meant to be, you guys. Like there was men at the event, and they had asked if they can come. She's like, actually no, like out of respect for the energy, I need this to be a female energy based off of like the energies that I'm getting from everyone else. Like it has to be for you guys. And so we just all felt so connected. We all felt so seen. Like we did the ceremony. It was my first time, and I'm always open-minded when I'm doing something. I don't expect to have a full experience, and I don't also like write that off because it's my first time. So I just let it happen, and I was feeling some things, but it was more so just peace. Like I was just feeling peace and feeling like I was exactly where I needed to be. And it was such a special birthday because it was my first time not getting super fucked up and drinking on my birthday and doing party favors and just being crazy. Like it was literally my first time just having a completely sober birthday, and it felt so monumental and so intentional that all happened that way. And to be able to be doing a healing ceremony on my birthday, it just felt so beautiful. And so with all that being said, we're all talking about things that are coming up, and you know, after conversations and just everything that I've been coming up, it's like, you know what, I just need to do these things that I want to do. And so one of those being, I really wanted to heal and start working on my relationship with my dad. So my dad and I have not had a relationship since I was little. He was in and out of the house. My mom and my dad were never fully together. They would get together and then separate. And so I grew up with him very in and out. And so then when my mom passed, that was pretty much it. I lived with my aunt, and I didn't really see my dad at all. We'd stayed in communication via like calls on birthdays, little things like that, but no real solid foundation of a relationship there as I was getting older. And since I had been here, and literally since I had been here, I had been thinking, I really want to start mending that relationship with my dad. I didn't know how to go about it. So both my parents were born in Cuba. My dad doesn't speak any English. I think he knows like some little words, but he grew up mostly in Jersey, and he stayed in Jersey. If you know anything about Jersey, there's a lot of Spanish speakers in Jersey. So he got away with not learning the language, and me going to speaking English at school, English then turning into my primary language, me then living with my aunt, which is my mom's sister, who married a man who doesn't speak English. Now they don't speak Spanish at home. The kids don't speak Spanish because her husband doesn't speak Spanish, right? So now I like transition to a home that I never ever speak Spanish in, and then I go to college and I don't speak Spanish there at all. So I really lost my Spanish, and that became a barrier in me and my father's relationship. I felt like I could never have deeper conversations with him. I felt like it was very surface level when we would talk, and there was always more that I wanted to say, but I just didn't know how to say it. It's 2024, so I'm in Bali. I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna write this man a full letter. I'm gonna have ChatGPT change it to Spanish, and I'm just gonna give it to him. I'm gonna say everything that I've ever wanted to say. And I just kept telling my friend Riley, I was like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. I was telling like people I was meeting here, I was like, this is what I feel really called to do. Like I'm gonna write this letter, and I'm just gonna mend things, because a part of me felt like I feel so much for my father, and in a way that I'm like, you know, I think he distanced himself because he felt like he couldn't provide for me in the way that he wanted. I feel like he could have distanced himself because he didn't meet felt like he couldn't meet my expectations or give me the life that he knew I deserved. And also then too, with the language barrier, he wanted me to fully be able to learn the language and just live maybe a better life than he. And I know that now that I'm older, our parents are just figuring it out for the first time. It is his first time being a parent. It is his first time having a daughter that is this age. Every single time she gets older, it's like the first time, right? It's the first time. And as you get older, you're like, what the fuck is life? What's going on? What are we doing? What the fuck is this experience? And then you start to feel for your parents. And I feel like that's why so many people excuse me start to become closer to their parents when they get older. And so I'm having, you know, all of these realizations. Meanwhile, I decided I was going to start another business venture. So I moved some things around in my fitness coaching business so that I could still nurture that, still have time, but I needed to kind of remove myself from some aspects so that I could have a little bit of time back as well. And I started business coaching, and I built out a mentorship program for that. We're actually starting the cohort tomorrow, which is super exciting, where I help coaches who do not have an online coaching business, maybe in-person trainers or aspiring coaches, build their online coaching business with the systems in place, the integrations and the tools and everything that I use in my current business. I'm helping them build that as well. So it's been really exciting. I've just been creating a lot of course content and just really focusing a lot of energy in that. And then once I kind of get that up off the ground, I'll have both things that I can evenly split my time with, which is amazing. Really just continuing to pour into my one-to-one fitness clients and our community, while also being able to support coaches, like literally a dream. So I've been just balls to the wall with this, doing the work. I had an in-person event, like I was doing the most. I just really I wanted to do this, so I was like, I'm gonna do it. All of this business work, like I've been doing a lot, and I kept telling people like I really, you know, want to have this conversation with my dad. I want to write out this letter. I want to tell him that I love him and I forgive him, and I want to know everything about him and all these things, right? So this a Sunday and a half ago or Monday and a half ago, I can't remember what day it was. I believe it was a Friday night. So 2 Fridays ago, I was thinking about my mom, and I made her this really sweet tribute post on Instagram, which I'm not gonna read it. You guys, if you saw it, you saw it. If not, you can go and look at it. But it was just a really sweet post. And I was talking about how I lost my mom to cancer and how she gave up so much for me, and how much I love her, right? And just how all the experiences that I have now are for both of us. I'm having them for both of us. Everything that I see, the world that I live, like I truly feel like it's for the both of us. I see myself growing into her every single day, see her in me, the reflection. It's just, I'm doing this life for the both of us, and everything that she's ever done for me and everything that she gave up. And I'm rewriting generational traumas and rewriting stories. I go to bed, I write this post, I go to bed, because my time is different than the US's time. So it's like 9 a.m. everyone else's time, it's 9 p.m. my time on a Friday. I'm going to bed. So I go to bed after I write this beautiful tribute post. I'm like responding to people's comments about it. I know some people relate. I was getting some Instagram DMs about, you know, people losing their parents, and just having some conversation before bed. I wake up. This story is like, I wake up in the morning and I get a Facebook message from my dad's brother, and he asked me, hi, like in Spanish, he lives in Spain. He asked me, when was the last time you spoke to your dad? And he's like, I haven't been able to contact him in months. And when he said that, literally my heart dropped to the pits of hell of my stomach. Like truly dropped to my stomach. And mind you, I also want to rewind for a second. Before I went to bed that night, and after I posted that tribute to my mom, me and my roommate Riley actually did a nice little journaling session. We were just like writing letters to our future partners, and we saged my room, and then she left, and I prayed. In the last several months, I've started going to church. I didn't grow up going to church. I've always wanted to believe in something more than myself, and the last few years I've become so much more spiritual, and I love that. I think it guides me. It's guided me in so much, and I've just connected to source and what's bigger than me. But I've felt very called to go to church more recently, and so I've been going in LA. I've gone a couple times, and then since I've been here in Bali, I've also gone 3 times. And so me praying and me having these conversations with God is very new to me. It was coming from a place of, I just want to know that it's real. You know, I want to know he's here. I want to know I'm taken care of. I want to know that, you know, God is real. Like that's what I wanted to know. I wanted to see him. I wanted proof. I wanted to hear him. I wanted what other people seem to experience. So before I went to bed, I literally got down on my knees and I prayed. And I prayed to God that he would show himself to me. I prayed that he would show me that he is here, that he is real. I said, please show yourself to me. I want to know, I want a relationship with you. I want to see you. And the pastor the week prior was telling us we need to build a relationship with God. It's not just about coming to church. We need to build a relationship with him. And I was like, dang, well, I don't know much about this stuff, but I got to start somewhere. So I prayed. I said, God, please show yourself to me. And I wake up that morning. I got that message from my uncle, and it read that he had not spoken to my dad in months. For me, that's not abnormal. I don't have a close relationship with him, but I did remember that he didn't wish me a happy birthday, which he always typically does. He sends me a WhatsApp message, he'll call me. There's usually a happy birthday, if nothing else, at least for months. So I go and I look at our messages in WhatsApp, and no messages, which I expected, but I noticed that it said he had not been active since July 12th. And WhatsApp is my dad's main form of communication. He speaks to family members in Spain, Cuba, in the US. Like, that's always been his main form of communication because we have family outside of the US. And that's always how I've talked to him for the last like 5 years, is WhatsApp. And so to see that he had not been active in 12 months, or since July 12th, really sent me on, you know, a mini breakdown, as anyone would, like, where's my dad? And so now we start contacting everyone, all of our family members. No one has a really close relationship with my dad. I would say my half brother, which is his son from his first marriage, has the closest relationship with him. And I was talking, and he was in Cuba at the time visiting, and I was speaking to his wife who's in the US, and she said that they had also not spoken to him since my grandma died. And this was news to me, that my grandma died. I didn't know that my dad's mom died, because the only person who would be able to really tell me that is my dad or my brother's wife, who I also don't have a close relationship with. So I'm hearing for the first time that my grandma died. And I didn't have a close relationship with her, but she was my grandmother. I went and visited her in Cuba multiple times, and I was speaking with his wife, and she said, yeah, the last time we talked to your dad was the day that your grandma died, like sent me a screenshot. And so I see the screenshot of the call conversation, the call log, the time, how long it was, all of that, and I'm thinking, okay. So we had spoken to as many people as we could who would maybe have spoken with my dad, and nobody had talked to him for over 2 months. Over 2 months, nobody had talked to him. And so I'm calling my aunt in a full panic. I'm across the world. I'm thinking, no one's talked to my dad. He has not contacted anyone. And my dad has, my whole life, struggled. He struggled to keep jobs. He's just struggled in general, and he's never like had his own place, and he's always lived with other people, and it's just been kind of messy, and not financially responsible, and it was just, it's been hard for my dad for a really long time. And so I'm thinking, my dad's dead. Like, my dad has to be dead. And when I tell you, most of my family was thinking the same, that he's not alive, that there's no way he could be if no one has spoken to him for 2 months. I spent the entire day grieving my dad, and I'm living here in Bali, and I'm living with my roommate Riley, who is a breathwork facilitator, and she lost her dad. I believe it's 2 years ago now. And I text her because she's downstairs. I knew that she was on a phone call. I text her. I'm like, Riley, can you please come upstairs? And it's an emergency. She comes upstairs, and I literally fall to my knees, and I tell her I think my dad is dead. I'm bawling my eyes out. I'm on the ground. I'm like dry heaving, like scream crying. And she knows exactly what that feeling feels like. Unfortunately, she's lost her father. And to be going through such a strange layer of emotions, where I felt so confidently like, he's gone, like my dad is dead. I just felt, it was the second worst day of my life. On top of losing my mom, it was literally the second worst day of my life. And to know that I had never gotten to write that letter to him, I didn't get to tell him everything I wanted to tell him. I didn't get to know the things that I wanted to know about him, and that he was just gone. And that I had been sitting on the idea of mending my relationship with him, with reconnecting with him, with talking to him, like truly getting to know him. And it was so heavy on my heart for them to be told and to feel, he's dead, he's gone. And it was gut-wrenching, like absolutely fucking gut-wrenching. Everything inside of me, like I, for a split moment, just didn't know how I was gonna get over this. Like, how the fuck could I get over this? I was gonna have to live with the regret of never having been able to do what I wanted to do and say what I wanted to say. Spent the whole day grieving and confused because the time is so different in the US, and so my daytime, everyone's sleeping. I couldn't find out more information. I'm like going on True People search and Googling morgues and doing all these things, because at this point I'm looking for a body. My family members are looking for a body. My aunt's telling me that when they wake up in the morning, they're gonna call hospitals. They're gonna call my uncle, who's retired police force in New York, and they're gonna try and see. But again, none of this could happen when I was sleeping, and so the only person that was kind of awake was my brother's wife. And so we're talking a little bit, and she's like, do you have any addresses? I was like, I have no addresses. So I scour the internet and I'm able to find a list of addresses that my dad could potentially live at. One thing leads to another, and the next day I go to bed. Again, I'm going to bed and I'm praying to God. I'm like, God, please, like, please, if you're with me, if you're here, like, please, like, I can't live with this. I cannot live with this. And so the next day I wake up and my brother's wife lets me know that she had a friend, because she wasn't living in Jersey, she had a friend go to the addresses that I sent, and one of the addresses, someone had said that they had seen him the Thursday prior, but that he before that had been in a hospital. So confirmation that my dad is potentially alive but still nowhere to be found, and potentially was in the hospital. So all things, I'm not going to get like super detailed into it, but eventually we did find my dad. He was in a hospital. He did have complications in his surgery. He also lost his phone. I still don't know all of the details, and that's something that, you know, I'm still gonna, you know, work on, truly understanding the situation. But I find out that my dad's alive, and I get confirmation. I literally spoke to the landlord of the building that he works in, or that he lives in, and she, when we found her information and we messaged her on WhatsApp and sent her pictures and confirmations and all this, she was like, the first thing that she said to me was, your dad is okay, thank you God, in Spanish. And I'm thinking, that's interesting that she would use those terms, like thank you God, right? Because not everybody is religious, not everybody would say things like that. But she was like, thank you God, like gracias a Dios is what she said, that he's alive. And she said it multiple times via text, and I'm just thinking like, wow, like that's a very interesting choice of words that she said that. And that whole next day, I thanked God. I said, this had to have been him, right? And it was hard to understand why I had been put through that. But it wasn't just for God to show me that he's real, but it was for him to remind me that we can't sit on the things that we want to say or do. We have to do them. We have to act on them. And he gave me a second chance to mend my relationship with my father. And even though I was talking about it, I wasn't doing it. And it really forced me into action, which is what I'm mending it now as we speak. Thank God. And this is also not the end of my story. But I truly feel like I was given another chance that you shouldn't get. What are the odds of you mourning your parent or someone's death just to find out they're actually alive? Like, that's not a normal experience. And I don't take that lightly, that happened in that way, and that I was given a chance that most people don't get. The fact that Riley was here consoling me she's lost her father, and that she was the one who was here with me, that's not an accident. The fact that the night before I was thinking so heavily about my mother, and I made a post about her and saying I was living for the both of us, and then wake up in the morning and find out that I think my dad is dead, to have had all of these experiences and come here specifically feeling like, well, I came here for my mom, but really it feels like God is telling me, yeah, your mom's with you. She's always with you. She's here. She's a part of all of these things, but your dad is there. Your dad is there. Your dad's there with you. He is physically here. There is a relationship there that needs to be healed and needs to be mended. And I'm giving you the opportunity to really do it. And so it feels just so intentional that has happened the way that it did. And so lastly, what I want to leave you guys on, because it's hard to feel, you can't feel like these things are an accident. So I hosted my first in-person event, and it was to help business owners, like I said, coaches, wellness, fitness, who want to build an online coaching business, start from 0 to 20K a month. And so with that, I was really nervous to do this in-person event. I turned it around very quickly. I spoke to the cafe the week prior and we set everything up. Like the event flyer had been live for like 6 days. I'm like super nervous. I'm like, I'm hoping people come. I'm hoping people come. Like, this is such a big step for me to be doing something in person and hosting events, speaking live. And, you know, I'm very nervous. I'm very like, you know, scared to do this. This is such a big venture. Like, I just want to know that I'm literally on the right path. Like, am I on the right path? It feels like I'm on the right path. Like, I feel aligned with this path. So backstory, when I got to Bali, the main form of transportation here is Gojek and Grabs, which is like an Uber via scooter. So you call them on your phone. So I was mostly doing Grabs. I was calling a Grab. It's like between 60 cents to $1 every time I called one. And you just sit on the back. You don't like hold on to the Grab. You're kind of just like holding on with your knees, but it feels safe. It seems pretty safe. But every time I was on this Grab, I would say multiple times a week for about a month, like a little over a month that I had been driving, taking the Grabs. There's this one path from where I live closer to Praranan into Canggu. There's this one path that it's so crazy to me. It's super narrow. If you fall, you're falling in a rice field. Like, it's just this small skinny pathway that like doesn't really ever show up on Google Maps because it's almost like a shortcut. But it's so skinny, and then you'll see like bikes going both ways. It's just skinny. I'm like, how are we all making this work? And I just remember thinking every single time I got on this path, every single time I got on this path, I was so petrified. I was so freaking scared. And I just would think, how are people driving on this path? Like, I could never drive this path. This path is too dangerous. I could never do it. I could never do it. I'm sitting on the back of the Grab driver. I'm like thinking I could never do it. I could never do it. Flash forward to church service maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. The pastor had a message at church, and his message was 3 steps ahead is all you need. When he was traveling at one point, there was like this place he was staying that was really, really dark at night, but he loved to walk at night. So he would wear this headpiece that had lights coming out of it, and it would light up the path so you could see in front of him when he was walking in the dark. And one night he was walking, and he got a voice from God that said, turn the lights off. And he was like, surely that can't be from God. I can't see. It's dark out here. It's scary. Like, I can't turn the light off. He gets another one. He's like, I need to turn these lights off. He was like, okay. So he turns the lights off. He starts walking, and as time goes by, he's realizing that his eyes start to adjust to the path in front of him, and he can actually see a little bit. Like, he can see at least 3 steps in front of him. And then as more time goes on, he actually sees that because his eyes are adjusted to the darkness instead of with the light, he can actually see the moon and the stars lighting up his path. Like, that it's bright enough for them to do that, but he couldn't see that before with the headlights on. So he was just reminding all of us that all you need to see is 3 steps ahead. That's literally all you need to see. The rest is not your business. When the time comes for you to see the rest of the path, you will have the tools equipped to see that path, right? It's like when a lot of us will stay paralyzed in the idea of like, well, I can't do this because what if this happens, and then what if this happens, and then what if this happens, and then what if this happens? And then we just do nothing. We're just so scared. But what if we lived in a way where we just told ourselves, actually, all those things are always gonna get figured out. When it's time for me to figure them out, because of the 3 steps I took before and the 3 steps before that and X, Y, and Z, I will have the tools necessary to get me through whatever it is that I need to get through. So put trust in something outside of yourself to know that you will get through whatever it is that you need to get through when it's time for you to get through it. Trust that God is with you and that you will have the tools and you will be guided, that he will guide you in whichever way that you need when the time comes, but you don't have to worry about it right now. So going back to my story, I was so scared on this path, right? Always so scared, always so scared. I'm on my way to my first event. It's been 2 weeks now. I've been driving my own scooter, which I was scared to buy a scooter. I was like, how are people driving these things? They're so scary. Like, I don't even know. The first time I turned it on, I crashed it into my villa. Luckily, the trash can was there. I hit the trash can first. I didn't even dent the front. Chef's kiss. But I was really scared driving. I was trying to like figure it out outside of my villa, and it was just very scary. I get on the street, I'm like, what's going on? Just very scared. It took me a couple days and I finally got it. I'm like, yes, like I got this, I can drive. So like, it's not that bad. So but I've been driving for 2 weeks now. Flash forward to my event this past Saturday. It was 1 to 3. It's about a 15-minute drive scooter wise from me, and getting ready for the event, I'm like, I'm so nervous. Like, this is an in-person event. I'm speaking business to people. I'm not speaking fitness and nutrition. I'm speaking business. This is a new realm for me to step into. I've never done this before. I'm really excited, but I'm mostly nervous. I'm really, really nervous. What's it gonna be like? I'm just so scared. I'm nervous, right? I get on my scooter, I'm like going an hour early because I want to make sure I have time to like set up and make sure all the tech things are working, and I'm driving. It's like 10 minutes into my drive, maybe a little bit less, and I get like, I have sound on so I can hear the GPS tell me where to go, and it says like turn left. I turn my blinker on and I see that I'm turning left onto this path. You guys, for the 2 weeks that I have been driving my scooter, not once going into Canggu, not one time, and I've also driven to this cafe before, not one time have I ever been directed to go down this path. Not one singular time. And I'm just thinking to myself, now's the time. Like, we're doing this. We're going down the scary, the doom path that has scared me for a hot minute since I've been driving on the grabs. It's time to do it. And I haven't even been thinking about this path. There has been no thought of this path. I've been driving my scooter for 2 weeks. I haven't even really thought about the path. It just hasn't been top of mind. So I'm getting on the path and I'm a little nervous. I'm a little nervous because my phone is kind of wiggly in the thing. Like, I can hear it shake a little bit, and it's a kind of a bumpy path. It's also really narrow, and there's bikes going both ways, and we're like this close to each other. There's no wiggle room. So I'm halfway down the path. I'm like, I'm doing it. My phone falls out of the case. I'm on the scooter, on the skinny ass path. The phone falls out of the case, guys. I catch it with my knees. I don't know. I keep driving because I have to. Because if I were to take one hand off, or if I were to move or whatever, I'm down in the ditch of the rice field, and I'm toast. And other people are getting hurt too, but somehow I catch it with my knees. And when my phone falls, all I could do is laugh. Like, I literally just start giggling. I'm like, I cannot believe that my phone just fell on this scary ass path. And I like get through the path, we're all good. I get to the event, I fucking crush it. I actually talk about this this exact conversation in terms of like the 3 steps ahead with everyone there at the event, and I also explained to them what happened with this path as well. And the takeaway from it is, if I needed to get a bike. I needed to get a bike. It was a skill I didn't have. It's something that was foreign to me, but I wasn't ever not gonna get the bike just because I didn't know how to drive it, or just because maybe one day I'll have to go on, maybe I'll get directed GPS on this path, so I shouldn't get a bike just in case, because it'll be too scary. No, I didn't have that headspace. I was just like, the next step to being a bad bitch is getting a bike. That was just my thought process. I have to get a bike. I need to be that girl. I want to feel confident. I want to drive myself around. It's what I want to do. I knew it was the step I had to take. We're just going to do it, and the rest will figure it out. Not one time did I think about, oh, I can't get the bike because I might go down that path. And I let go, literally let go, let God, taught myself how to drive this bike. And when the time came, I had the tools because I had been practicing for 2 weeks, because God did not put me on that path before I was ready for it. I'd been practicing for 2 weeks, and when it was time and I was ready, I was put on that path. And glory to God that it was literally on my way to my very first speaking event that I was hosting, right, where I was so nervous and want to feel like I'm on the right path. And I was literally taken down that path when I had all of the tools. When I had been practicing for 2 weeks, I knew I could get down that path, right? And it just goes to show that we just need to worry about the 3 steps ahead of us, because when that scary thing that might maybe happens, at that point, because of everything that you've done beforehand, you need to trust that you will be taken care of, that you will have the resources, you will have the tools in your toolbox to be able to do what it is that you need to do. And it was the most insane thing. I feel like the last few weeks I've never felt the presence of God more, and I leaned into that as well on the presentation. I was like, listen, building a business and doing something like this is so scary, but we have to put trust outside of ourselves. There is a reason why the best, the most incredible athletes, the most incredible entrepreneurs and motivational speakers, they all believe in something. They all believe in God, source, the universe. A lot of them are religious, and it's for a good reason, because we can't do this by ourselves. And the minute we stop telling ourselves that we have to do this all by ourselves, and we lean into that we are taken care of, and that the plan is already mapped out for us, and all we need to do is listen to our intuition, listen to God, and take those next steps, and everything else will be taken care of, life gets a lot more peaceful. And it's hard for me to ignore everything around me, all the signs, because it's not a coincidence. And I feel so called to share it, because I feel now so taken care of, and anything that I do, I want to keep building my relationship with God. I'm a newbie. I don't know a lot, but I know that I know that I'm safe. I know that I'm protected. I know that everything that I want in this life, the path is already laid out for me. So I'm going to take the risk. I'm going to do the thing, because no matter what, I have trust that I've gotten to this point, and I will continue to get to where I want to be. And I'm just putting that trust in myself. So do the fucking thing. Go talk to your parents, rebuild your relationship, tear down your business, quit your job, start a new thing, pour into the things you love, pour into all your passions. I'm so passionate about so many things, and I've played too fucking small for too long, and it's out of comfort and scarcity and imposter syndrome. But like, fuck that shit. Like, I want to do it all, and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna have the conversations, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna live the life that I feel I am called to live, and that requires me taking fucking action. If there's anything that you can take away, it's take action. Do the thing. Trust. And it's important for me to share how connected I feel to this God that is with me, and he shows himself to me. And even though I don't know him that well, I want to continue to get to know him and continue to put my trust in him. And I feel like my life is forever changed, and I truly feel like I've met God in Bali. I love you.